Okay, go.
Okay, I'll start the script for remotely conducted open meetings, public participation guidelines. Ginger, can you go on mute until we call you? There's
Sure.
some sound coming in. Thank you. Public participation guidelines. Members of the public wishing to participate in the meeting must use their full name for Zoom access. If full names are not used, people will not be allowed to participate in discussion. The town reserves the right to remove any member of the public from the meeting who doesn't use a full name or acts inappropriately. Confirming member access. As a preliminary matter, this is Tom Sidlowski, Vice Chair. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Peter Brace.
Aye.
Dave Bossy.
Aye.
Ginger Andrews.
Present. It's actually Virginia Folger Andrews, if you want to use my full name.
Getting technical.
Whatever name you want to use, that's great, Virginia Folger Andrews. I don't
Okay, well,
see
that's my
any-
full name. Anyway, I'm here.
Okay. I don't see any staff from the Marine Department or the Natural Resources Department. And I don't think there are any other anticipated speakers unless Samantha is anticipated to speak. Peter?
I don't know. She might introduce herself, and I know that there's a lot of issues on the agenda that we've been talking about for a while that she may want to add to, but I'm sure she'll ask.
But she doesn't have she'll more be public comment. She doesn't have a place on the agenda where she is the
She's not
speaker.
on the agenda, but she had asked that I add her to our regular emailing so that she could be more in touch with what's going on with us.
Terrific. And we'd love to hear from her. I'm going through the script here. Okay, good evening. This open meeting of the Harbor and Shellfish Advisory Board is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Harbor and Shellfish Advisory Board is convening by video conference via Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. Meeting business ground rules. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motion. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until I yield the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. For items with public comment. After members have spoken, I will afford public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. Okay, approval of the agenda. Are there any comments on the agenda from the members? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second, Mr. Chairman, this is Ginger.
Motion approved, made by Mr. Bossy, seconded by Ms. Andrews. Mr. Brace?
Aye.
And the vice chair says aye. I didn't see minutes, Peter. Are we looking at minutes this meeting?
We're not. I was on,
Okay.
I was away in a place where I couldn't get to them. And I mean, the meeting was only 40 minutes. So
Yeah, I hope you had a good time.
I had a blast. I didn't want to come back, Tom.
I want to get away, so I don't know how you feel. Next item on the agenda is the Marine Department report. I see no one from the Marine Department. Are there any comments from members of the board having to do with Marine Department business?
I just would really like to get Sheila here to get a report on the storms that we had and the damages and how repairs are going. And I've heard that report at my other posting at the Coastal Resilience Advisory Committee, but I heard it secondhand. So it'd be great if she could make a meeting. I mean, I'm not saying that you should call her. I'm just you know.
Well, I will text Andy and ask him to invite her in the future, because this came up last meeting, and I would love to hear, if we expect the pier to be ready by the season or not. By the way, what did you hear secondhand?
Oh, just that everything was destroyed and she's working on it and whatever. But she was supposed to speak to Crack, but the surveyors, I guess, to look at the damages came a day early, and so she couldn't. She came that morning when she was supposed to speak to Crack, and so she couldn't speak. So she just passed on a report to Vincent Murphy.
Okay, well, maybe instead I should. What do you think if I should get a hold of her and get her to tell me the status, and if she can't make it, I can report at least something that I get directly from her, because getting her has been tough all along. She's busy and all of that.
I would say don't give her the out. Ask her. I would say ask her if she could attend a meeting coming up soon, so that we could get a full update, and tell her you understand how busy she is and you appreciate that, but we really need to see her at a meeting. Something along that line. And then if she says, I can't make it, but I'll send you a report, then say, okay, that's great. But
Okay, I'll do that. I won't ask Andy. I'll take care of that before the next meeting.
I would also, I have questions about the new building. I'm pretty sure I saw an article about the new Harbor Master building where they're coming back for $1 or $2 million more for that. So I'd like to hear, maybe get an update on what's happening at town meeting with that from Harbor Master point of view.
Okay, dock and building. I'll tell her we'd love her to come in, and since she's the first person on the agenda, I'm with you, Peter. It's 10 minutes of her time, and she can leave. So, okay. Any other comments? Public comment on the Marine Department? I'm surprised no Natural Resources Department. We didn't have Tara last time either, did we?
No, we didn't. But I was just up in Maine, and I did see some posts by Tara and her family, and they were on the mainland, adjacent to where I was, vacationing at a place to ski. So, and it is school vacation week.
Yeah, it is school vacation week. We'll get her next time.
Yeah.
Okay. Which means this is going to be a pretty short meeting, because I think most of the topics have been discussed, and I don't know who has any more business, but we'll move on. Dredging, any new discussion on dredging plans? Has anybody heard anything new about potential dredging plans?
I think we're kind of up to date. I think we're going to be getting some sort of plan this year, the spring, I think is what Tara may have reported, or Jeff may have reported.
Now, the fertilizer ban articles, I didn't hear, has anybody heard what the finance committee has come up with on it as a recommendation?
I haven't heard, but I can, I can check it out.
Yeah, because the articles don't have the recommendations in it yet. So all we have is the articles. Dave, have you heard anything about that?
No, I have not, and I meant to look at the minutes from the last meeting, but I don't know if they're up yet. They're notoriously late. I guess they approved them at the next meeting and then put them up.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any further discussion on fertilizer ban? Any public discussion on things they think that we ought to do about the topics of old business, either the dredging or the fertilizer ban? Hearing, yes?
I know, it'd be interesting to find out about the people who are running for planning board, to see where their heads are at, because, the planning board members all serve a dual role. They are on the planning board. They make up the 5, elected officials on the Nantucket Planning and Economic Development Commission. They were the guys that, working with UMass Fuel Station, supposedly could, actuate some sort of ban. So I don't know. Might be good to
I was
know.
wondering, when we have everybody back, or most everybody back last time, next meeting, if it is appropriate for our committee to make a comment on the fertilizer ban officially.
Sure. We're an advisory board. We're not regulatory.
Yeah.
We advise, we can send a letter to, we could, well, I'd have to ask Erica, but we might be able to create something that could be handed out at town meetings. Stating our position. It could be a leaflet that could be available at a table somewhere, maybe at wherever the land council might be handing out things. But if we could get it to somebody sooner than later.
So ask Erica, if we send a letter to the select board, can we then also send it to the paper?
Okay.
Because if they print it, then at least people, know, sort of where we would stand if we actually come up with a consensus. Ms. Andrews, are you?
Oh, yes.
I can tell you're ready. You have something to say. You took your mute off, so sorry to keep you waiting.
Well, I said at the last meeting about the pushback and the paradox of human nature here is that if something is forbidden, it, suddenly becomes profitable for someone who's willing to, be a bad actor. But I think it's really crucial that if in fact this ban can be done through, the planning process, that we become a fertilizer-free island. That who is elected or who's appointed or however we get them on the planning board will be really crucial. So I think maybe when the Civic League talks to candidates, we should make sure that these questions are asked.
That's a good idea. I appreciate that.
Well,
okay.
we can attend,
Yeah, and ask the question.
Yeah. And we can, I don't know when that Ginger, do you know when the candidates night thing is?
I don't know. Sorry.
So we should find out when that is, and then maybe have this on the next agenda on how we might, the questions we might ask, or the statement we might make.
Can you put it on the agenda temporarily, and I'll see if I can find out from the Civic League. That's sort of a group that I connect into. So I'll find out, and I'll let everybody know. And if it's still timely, we could talk about it next time. If not, at least people will know. I can let everybody know when it would be, so they could participate and ask whatever questions are interesting to them.
And-
Although I don't know that we have any, yet I don't know that we have a surfeit of candidates such that not everybody who's running isn't going to be elected. So, any other topics on that before I move to health of the harbor? We've talked about fertilizer. Without the Marine Department, we do not have an update on the shellfish taking in the mooring fields or the water quality testing. But do we have any comments by the board members about this? Okay, any comments by the public? Okay. We talked last month, so it's not as new business as it was, about the video on the Lingbia. Is there anything else to bring up on that? Are there thoughts that we ought to do something more to disseminate that video? Ms. Rogers? Miss Andrews? Andrews. Sorry, I'm losing my mind. Hey, I'm trying.
Oh, it's kind of funny, and I make it a point of saying at this point that I never do anything backwards in high heels.
Yeah, that's where it comes from. You want to say ginger, and then Rogers comes out. Sorry.
That marks us as a certain generation, I think.
No kidding.
Now, have I forgotten what I was going to say?
What was the Lingbia video?
Oh, yes. Would someone send me a link to that again? I was looking for it the other day, and I couldn't find it.
Do you have that, Peter?
I'll find it.
Okay.
If you could email it to me, I'd appreciate it.
So wait till Peter finishes his notes.
Okay.
Peter, do we have an update on the Coastal Resiliency Advisory Board?
All I know is there's some sort of workshop coming up that has to do with, I'm still going through re-entry from being on vacation, so I'm a little daft. But there's a workshop, I think it's on the 7th, which is Monday, that I'm supposed to be the representative for our board, that has to do with Wisconsin Beach Preservation Fund and the geotubes, and so that's happening then. And I don't know anything else about it. I just know that I was asked to be that, and so I am. And we last had a meeting on the 22nd, but I was, and that was last Tuesday, and I was of course away, so I don't have a real update for you guys. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I have one thought for you, a suggestion to think about. It seems to me that the general population that hasn't paid real attention to this is very confused about what is going on in terms of, what's approved, what's not approved, the fact that it's just a plan and all of that. I was wondering if the board ever took any thoughts into doing a forum with the Civic League where they could have, and it would, I'm sure they tape them now, and also you could be in person now, and we could have a meeting where there's sort of a presentation and question and answer to kind of sort of myth bust the whole thing, so people understand what has happened, what it is, what the limits of it are, what they're going to get to see in town meeting in the future, who's going to approve money, all of those things that the casual voter doesn't really hear a lot about. I mean, they don't pay enough attention to.
Well, we had two open house of course, they were Zoom open house,
Yeah.
but two very, very well attended open houses where there were well over 170 people in attendance.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the Vince Murphy has presented to all kinds of, he's the coastal coordinator, coastal resilience coordinator. He's presented what the plan is to lots of organizations. Now that may be one that he's already presented to, I'm not sure. But then, he's been at select board meetings, updating people. And then the select board adopted the plan in early January. And I know that the town has gone to great lengths to make sure that people know that you can go to the town's website and look at the plan. But at the next meeting, I'll bring that up.
Well, you might be overkill, no question. It just, I know they do these forums and they're not as well attended as your meetings were. So it might just not be, it might be done already.
I know he has spoken at Rotary. He has spoken to the Nantucket Association. He has spoken to the FinCom. I know there's a long list of organizations, island organizations, where he's done the presentation and said, this is what this is, basically giving the executive summary of the CRP. So,
okay.
Yeah, public education is one of our biggest things. So,
yeah, it's the hardest thing to do because so many people don't pay a lot of attention, and then all of a sudden they want to know.
One of the things I've advocated for since I've been on the board, on the committee, was that we produce some sort of video that can be on the town's website, but not only there, but in the previews at the Dreamland and other places where there are lots of people, that does the elevator speech for the plan, shows the numbers, gives the website where you can go check it out, all that stuff.
That's a great idea.
We were budgeted for a certain amount to pay the consultant, Arcadis, and they didn't put a whole lot of money into public education. So that doesn't mean it isn't going to happen, but
yeah. Well, it's just this thought I had. It's whatever. If it helps, it helps. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Quiet week. Everybody's gone. I think we're to public question and comment. Any thoughts of new business for the next meeting? And I didn't print out, Peter. What are the dates of the next meetings?
It's the 15th.
The 15th, and then the first Tuesday.
Now, what was the thing that you thought? What was the thing that you said temporarily? Oh, okay. Yep. The candidates question. Okay.
Yes. And I'll get the date of the meet the candidates.
Okay. The election is where are we?
It's in May.
Yeah, the election is I think town meeting is May 3rd. And I think that the election is May 10th, something like that. So we got some time.
Yeah. Well, they can't do it until the time to sign up is over.
Right.
I don't know when that's over. But Dave, how's your write-in candidacy going?
That won't start until probably a week before town meeting. Works fine.
Well, yeah, you got me.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the closing date is the day I get home, which is why I can't register.
Yeah.
It's the 23rd. So
Okay.
yeah, it'll be in the last couple of weeks before the election. Otherwise, people forget how to spell my name, and it's just a mess.
Any other comments before we adjourn? Can I have a motion for adjournment? Oh, hi, Samantha. We can see you now.
Hi, I just wanted to jump on real quick and introduce myself. Thank you for having me. I'm the new executive director of the Nantucket Shellfish Association. I'm coming up on a year in the role, but I took over in May going into a very busy summer, also working at Straight Wharf. So I'm really trying to spend the winter, getting the Shellfish Association organized, getting our kind of campaigns up and running and our 2022 goals. So I'm going to try to make these meetings as often as I can, but please, if anyone ever wants to call me or email me or get coffee, when you mentioned, if you as a group are interested in a letter of support about the fertilizer ban going to the INCI, that's the type of thing that we would be more than happy to share with our membership base. I'm really trying to do more with education going forward with our group, educating our membership, educating the public. So any ways that we can work together, I'm really excited.
Well, thank you, and nice to meet you.
You as well.
So are we ready for a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
So moved, Mr. Chair. Second, Mr. Chairman. This is Ginger.
Mr. Brace and Ms. Andrews motioned and seconded adjournment. Mr. Bossy,
Aye.
Vice Chair says aye. We are now adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you in a
Thank
few
you.
weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
Thanks for coming, Samantha.